Hello, I'm Nicole, and today I'll be talking about psychoactive drugs. Psychoactive drugs has been a huge topic, and today I'll be covering the history, categories, purpose, applications, and the neurotransmitter effect, addiction, and my personal relations. First of all, let's look at the history. The history can be separated by two kinds of categories. First, archaeological evidence, which has been lasted for 10,000 years, and secondly, the historical evidence, which has been lasted for 5,000 years for cultural use. As for the usage, medicine and religious ceremonies are the two main usage. For medicine, opiates from Mesopotamia over the last 7,000 years has been really significantly used on medical. Even today, opiate is used as a common painkiller. As for religious ceremonies, hallucinogens and cannabis are the two main drugs that has been used on the spiritual ceremonies, which is known as drug cults. And for cactus and mushrooms from Native Americans and Mayans. As for cannabis, it's used by the Indians and Africans, even though now it's mostly medically characteristic. Moving on to types of psychoactive drugs. I'll be discussing 5 different kinds of psychoactive drugs, even though the textbook only covered 3. First of all, anxiolytics. This is a medication that prevents anxiety, and the example for this will be barbiturates. And secondly, empathogens. The example for this will be MDMA, known as ecstasy. It produces experiences of emotional openness and relatedness, which more specifically towards empathy and sympathy. Stimulants. Amphetamine, caffeine, cocaine, and nicotine are the well-known examples. And this increases the central nervous system's activity. Depressants slow down mental and physical activities. Alcohol, opiates, and tranquilizers are the examples. Hallucinogens modify a person's perceptual experiences and produce visual image that's all from the imaginary. And mushrooms and LSD will be the examples for this category. As for applications, there's a variety of applications. I'm fascinated by the variety of applications the drug has to offer. Anesthesia, pain management, mental disorders, recreation, ritual and spiritual, military. And now let's break down each of the category. Anesthesia affects the GABA and NMDA system. Pain management, how it works is when the neurotransmitter is blocked, specifically on opioid receptor agonist. As for mental disorder, it is aid to overcome challenging behaviors. The frequent classes of this will be antidepressants, stimulants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, anxiolytics, and depressants. As for recreation, it is for mood and perception altering effects. And ritual and spiritual, as we talked about the history, hallucinogens plays a significant role in it. But as for military, I'll provide 2 examples. In World War II, 60 million amphetamine pills were made for the use by the soldiers. And a form of cocaine is made with gunpowder in Syria for child soldiers. Now, how to take the drugs? The drug applications can be a lot of different ways, and the efficiency is based on each type of specific drugs. So for first of all, oral injection can be a form of tablet, capsule, powder, liquid, and beverage. Injection by injections is also another way of taking the drug. Intramuscular, intravenous route are the examples. And also you can go from rectum, and lastly, inhalation by smoking, vaporization, and insufflation, which is snorting. Now let's talk about how the neurotransmitter system path is affected. First, let's talk about the main neurotransmitter, dopamine. It provides a sense of rewarding system. And here's an example. When cocaine is present in synapse, cocaine binds to the uptake bumps and prevents them from removing dopamine from the system. So more dopamine will be collected in the synapse, and more dopamine receptors are activated. Dopamine means rewarding, so the mood will be elevated. And here are some examples that the neurotransmitters are prevented by these drugs. Alcohol is responsible for dopamine and GABA, opiates endorphin, cocaine for dopamine, MDMA serotonin, marijuana it disrupts the neural membrane and then further disrupt the function of neurotransmitters. LSD, we have serotonin and dopamine. Now let's talk about the addiction and dependence. The addiction can be separated into two categories: psychological and physical dependence. Psychological dependence is a user experience of negative psychological or emotional withdrawal symptoms that make them want to keep consuming the drugs. As for physical dependence, is to avoid physically uncomfortable or even medically harmful physical withdrawal symptoms like anesthesia or painkiller are actually types of psychoactive drugs. Even though the drugs has an undeniable impact on a human's addiction, rehabilitation includes professional psychotherapy, supporting groups, and pharmacotherapy, and those can all help benefit the drug addiction. So why I choose this topic and what's my personal takeaways? As a pre-pharmacy major, I'm a second-year pre-pharmacy major in University of the Pacific, and my future career will be pharmacy. And I am interested in understanding the different variety of drugs, and I'm so fascinated by its wide variety of applications, throwing back to the history on its spiritual ceremonies, and no one can even thought about that before. And I'm interested in learning how the drugs actually impact our behavior, so the neurotransmitters impact actually taught me a lot. And my personal takeaway will be some people actually want to stop the addiction, but they cannot because of the physically and mentally attachment to this addiction. And moreover, the biological reason, the neurotransmitter impact, it's not the way we can control. It's the brain and neurotransmitter being so used to this pattern. An application on my future career will be, it will definitely help with my profession. Today I understand more about its history, categories, purpose, applications, and impacts. And furthermore, I want to talk about this picture. Marijuana used to be a really strong, prohibited topic, but nowadays it actually helps with schizophrenia patients in a variety of ways. You see on YouTube, one of your video provides me to see how amazing marijuana has developed its positive benefits on a child that has schizophrenia, and that is really eye-opening. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you learn a little bit more about this topic, and here's my work site. Thank you.